So first, I want to do like a little word of explanation because last podcast, I was talking about how we did the podcast, and we didn't have much time to prepare, and we just kind of winged it. Like we went with the flow, and of course today. We will also, and we already started going with the flow. We had quite a nice conversation before we started. But there is a second part to it in preparing these podcasts. And so I used CHAT GPT for it. I did some research about you. And first of all, I kind of want to, because I sent you the whole thing.
The whole letter?
The whole letter.
Whole
It was a whole book. It was a lot of information. And I just wanted to ask you, like, what do you think about this? What ChatGPT knows about you?
I thought it was crazy. It was like 3 pages long.
It was long.
Information about myself that was found on the internet, which is crazy. But the other thing which was crazy is that the most of the stuff that was on there is I written it. It's from me. It's from my office. It's from colleagues who wrote something about me. It's from award shows that needed a little text about myself. So the most things you find about me is written by me or by somebody I know. But for example, summaries about short movies I made that I totally forgot, and a summary that's there that is never made before. Super weird to read it.
Yeah, I think that's our job as creatives in different parts in the creative industry to also help guide the new generations of how we see things, because we know how it was before and we know what we had to do before it all happened. And it's really important to create a certain distinction between what it is that your job is and what the job is of AI. And of course, our view or our generation's view will be different than the new generations about what creativity really is.
We have all those talks every week in the office.
Really?
With other creatives and other guys. But a lot of guys don't know the basic. It's, you can do this with AI and we can paint this away with AI. It's easy, right? It shouldn't take longer than an hour. And they're correct. It doesn't take longer than an hour, but you have to know how to use it. And I worked on it for 6 months to know how to use it. It's not one click.
Yeah.
People often forget it, that the word AI means 10 seconds of work, but it's not.
It's interesting because you do work with a lot of younger people, so you get that insight, and I don't. I really do use it the way you describe it to enhance. And so, for example, in these podcasts, I'm looking up especially things about how stories are structured. So it's a little bit more like a lesson on theory, but applying it in real life. So I know kind of in which direction I want to go with you, and then I give it into ChatGPT. And my question is really basic. It's like, give me everything you know about Robin in his private and professional life. I wanted to talk about this for a minute because I find that AI and ethics is a thing that is going to be more and more. And I want to play, open cards. And I find it really important for you and for every previous and next guest, how I use AI in order to find information about them and what I'm doing with it.
And why is it out there? Can you use my info just like a finger snap? Is it allowed?
I wanted to give an example of Alia, which was 2 podcasts ago. And I told her the same thing on the phone on the pre-call about the podcast. And I said, look, this is the way that I'm working to find information about you. So I don't have to ask you a million questions, but I can ask you more refined questions in this pre-podcast call. I want to go quite fast. I want to know like what your highlights are of your life, what your big switch moments were. When did something change in your life? And then I can ask more direct questions, and then I take notes. And from these notes and the ChatGPT, I combine, and then I prepare sort of like skeleton to do the podcast. Of course, a real conversation. I can write all the things I want here. But already now, the first 22 minutes we've been talking, it didn't go exactly the way that I thought it was going to go. No, but that's the art of it. That's I really embrace that part as much as the research part. You can know some things about a person, or think you can know some things about a person, but they're quite objective and they're quite open information that is available online. And then you come here and you sit down with me, and I get to, and you already told me a whole bunch of shit that was not online. So it's super interesting. And I want to kind of start this podcast and use you a little bit as a case to help people understand how I work and how I build these stories and these conversations. And there's really two important parts. There's one part information and one part flow, and that's how I do it.
The biggest problem I have now is that we have like the whole AI thing that's coming out. And it's really crazy what we can do. But the most annoying thing for me is creativity, that they took away the creativity of creating something, and not like chores. For me, like doing dishes or cleaning the house should be fixed by AI, and make more room for creativity, and not the other way around.
Yeah.
Now my creativity goes down and the time I spend in being creative goes down, and it has to be the other way around.
Is there something you want to say to the next generation of editors?
Try to be a little chameleon, because it's kind of handy to know a little bit of everything still. To know that base is really important. Know your base. Know what's good. Watch a lot of movies, but still know the basics of a camera. Know the basics of codecs. Know the basics of SSDs. How fast things are all those stupid basic stuff. How computer works is super important. Even when you have AI, or even when everything is automatic, sometimes it's not gonna work. Sometimes the TV is gonna be busted, or a cable is not gonna work. Make sure you know a little technology behind the software, or behind everything you do as an editor. It's still important to know the fundamentals of why a shot is good or why it's bad.